I didn't even realize that they came out with the Rust trailer for console. This was, I think, yesterday, but I ended up just seeing it today. And it looks pretty good. Like, I mean, what else is there to see? There's like, it's the same game technically, right? But it's just going to be on console. Maybe like the recoil is going to be different for all the guns. Maybe the way the game plays or feels is going to be different. But the way, like the concept of the game, the way that it looks, it's going to be the same. I don't know, like, I would imagine that it probably looks better on PC if you have the PC specs to handle Rust. Like personally, I don't. Like my computer's really bad. I haven't been able to get a GPU because they're really hard to find for the price that they retail them for, and other people resell them for more. So I've been stuck with the 970 for a very long time. I think at this point, I'm better off one day saving for like a pre-built PC. So anyways, yeah, I play on very low settings and I still barely get like 80 FPS, and consistently I get 70, which is not really, I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's like on a 144 hertz monitor, it feels kind of like bad because of the screen tear and stuff that you see. So I'm actually kind of excited I'm definitely going to get it on console. I want to know what it feels like, right? And if I eventually ever get like the new consoles, I don't know if it's going to be released for any of the new consoles, but if eventually I get one of the new consoles, I will be getting Rust on that and see if you can play like on 4K. I think the PlayStation Pro does 4K, right? So I wonder if you're going to have the ability to do 4K. I think that's the thing that I do love about consoles, even though a lot of games reduce the frame rate to 30 FPS, but the game can still look really good, right? And it won't feel as stuttery. It'll feel weird to play, right? Because especially if you're used to playing above 60 FPS, or like myself above, at least 120 FPS on a lot of games, or else it's not going to feel as smooth or silky and stuff. But still, like, I think if console can find a way to have it to where you can play at 4K or even 1440p and have a little bit above 4K, I think that's it's basically a really good compromise. So like the consoles are easily accessible if, as long as you have the money, but they're never going to increase in price. If anything, they're going to decrease. Now, there were people that were like reselling them and stuff like that, and I don't know why people would buy them. I guess they wanted it day one, and if they have the funds, might as well buy them, I guess. But like consoles are going to keep remaking and making over and over to profit even more and stuff like that. So it's not like they're going to have only a limited supply. Every time that I get a new console, it was always easy to obtain, although I never get it in the first few months because I wait to see if there's any problems, or sometimes I just don't have the funds to get it, or sometimes I realize that, well, I'm still kind of okay with my first iteration console, and usually they always make a new version. Like when I got a PlayStation, I ended up getting the PlayStation Pro. It was after the Slim, because with the PlayStation, it was like the PlayStation, then the PlayStation Slim, then it was the PlayStation Pro, or it could have been another one before the PlayStation Pro. So yeah, I mean, if you wait a while, they come up with new iterations of the same console, just maybe in a slimmer form factor, maybe in a different design, maybe some kind of special edition with like one of your favorite titles that may be coming up, like a God of War edition. So yeah, I'll definitely get a console eventually. I feel like it. GPU, on the other hand, I don't know, unless someone like ends up sending me one day, right? But I'm not big enough for that. So hopefully maybe if I can find a good price for one, that would happen eventually. But I've never played Rust at the highest quality settings, right? Some people say it looks really good. I've seen people streams and videos that they have 144 FPS. I didn't even know this game could get 144. I always thought it was badly optimized, but obviously I just have a shitty PC. But other games that I play at low settings, I'm able to get 144. Except for Apex Legends, I get like 110, 120, depending on where I'm at and stuff like that. But I don't know, like console, I don't know what the FPS is going to be, like the max or the limit of it. Like, are you going to have options to just play 1080p, to play 1440p, or can you play also at 4K? What is going to be the frame rate? Because I remember people were playing on the new PlayStation 5, and they were playing the new Spider-Man game. And you could either use the NVIDIA like RTX stuff, and the game looked amazing, but the problem is it reduced the frames to 30 FPS. Now, I think you could still play it at 4K, 60 FPS, just without the RTX light and shadow effect stuff. And I just figure that I don't know if Rust is going to be implementing, the RTX stuff on and off. But I think I'm going to be playing Rust on console. Now, to see if it's going to be a better experience or a worse experience, who knows? I do feel like there's going to be less hackers on console than there are on PC. So that's kind of like a good thing that they don't do cross-play. I think they've already confirmed that there's not going to be cross-plat with PC at least. I don't know if they have any, what's the word? Any future plans to do cross-play between consoles. I think that would be a solid thing to do. Now with PC, that's a whole different story. I think just keep it away from the PC community. I'm in the PC community and there are a lot of hackers. That's why I play on community servers when I do play Rust, because there seems to be a lot of active admins depending on the community servers that you play. If you end up choosing official servers, usually it takes a while for them to get banned if they're aimbotting or wall hacking or something like ESP. But usually if they're flying around and stuff like that, the auto anti-cheat will detect that. So there's certain things that it will detect. But other than that, there's things that you need human beings, moderation to actually take account into this. Now, since console's going to be a little bit harder to hack on, I think there's going to be way less hackers. Now, people can still use mouse and keyboards on every console. There's probably going to be a lot of people that do that and have an advantage maybe. It just depends how the recoil is going to be on Rust. I don't know how much or how drastically they're going to change the recoil for all the guns, because they have to combat it to aim assist and with the controller, but they also have to assume or know that people are going to use mouse and keyboard. Now, another question could be brought up, should mouse and keyboard be allowed with console? Because theoretically you can just plug the keyboard and mouse straight to the console in the back and it'll work, but the games can choose to detect that. The problem is if Rust decides to not enable that, then a lot of people are going to be at a disadvantage simply because people are going to use third-party hardware to plug it into their console and it's going to read as a controller and they're still going to use mouse and keyboard. So personally, I just think that just let the input read as it reads, right? You can plug in a mouse and keyboard if you want or not. People are going to do it anyways. I don't think you can ever solve the problem of people using mouse and keyboard on a console, right? They sell all these products like the XSIM or something, and they sell other USB dongles that you can plug into the back of the console to connect your mouse and keyboard, and it reads it as a controller, so it's undetectable. So I think that's going to be the major factor of cheating. But other than that, it's not going to be what is it? It's not going to be hackers aimbotting or hackers walling or ESPs or flying around the map like it is on PC. Now, I don't encounter that too much. I think the most thing that you encounter is people seeing through walls so they know where your loot's at. That's something that you're probably not going to have to worry about on console. So I think I'm going to give console a try, see how much I like it, see how different the game looks graphic-wise compared to my shitty PC, to see if it's worth just playing on console. I'm not too much of a PvP when I play Rust. I don't mind the PvP, but I don't go out of my way to look for PvP. And that doesn't mean that, console is going to be better than PC even if I switch to console. Rust on PC is probably just still going to feel better, the movement and everything. I don't know. I just think that it's just mainly my main reason is just for the graphics, right? The hackers, I don't know. That's something that you kind of deal with when you play games on PC, right? And eventually they might come up with something where it gets super easy to hack on console. I know the previous generation consoles, the old Xbox 360 and the original PlayStation and stuff like that, they're easy to be modded now. But usually when a new console comes out, it's kind of hard to... Usually you don't see that many hackers like PC, where it's a lot easier to exploit stuff on PC than it is on brand new consoles. So that's kind of one of the things that is beneficial for a lot of console players. And a lot of console players hate playing against PC players when it comes to Warzone or Call of Duty, when Blackout used to be out, or even Apex Legends, because you never know when you're going to encounter a hacker. So other than that, I think this game looks good. I've played the shit out of this game. I have a lot of hours. Not a lot the top tier God Rust players. I have 3,000 hours, and most of those 3,000 hours I spent building, and probably 100 max I spend on PvP, I would say. So it's kind of like I'm not really good at the game, but I can hold my own decently. Depends. Play a little bit smart. I'm able to build decently as well. I can get started on a fresh wipe. I do it every time. My base tends to last every wipe. Most of the wipes that I play, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see how many people are going to be playing this game on console. If it's going to bring the sales up in like the Steam version of it. And if it's going to bring the viewership up when it comes to like YouTube videos or it comes to live streaming, because a lot of people do play on consoles. Like you see a lot of people playing Call of Duty on console. Although a lot of games that are on top of like the streaming community or Twitch tends to be like a lot of PC games. But I think each of them can hold their own in their own category. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I think the more people that are playing Rust, the more people you're going to see in the live viewer section, right? Like you have people who are good with controllers and like using controllers even when they switch to PC. Like you have Nick Mercs, you have, I forget, there's a lot of Fortnite pros that used to play Fortnite at least, and they switch to PC and they still use a controller. And some people would argue that mouse and keyboard is not even going to be an advantage. Remember, there was that whole argument on Fortnite where it was like, oh, aim assist is easier to play with or controller's easier to play with because of aim assist compared to mouse and keyboard. A lot of people were trying to make that argument. So it's like, and then the PC side of things was saying the same thing. And then eventually it became to the point where like controllers were saying, well, PC players have an advantage. They should stay in their own lane and all this stuff. So people are still going to have different perspectives. I don't know which one's right. I guess at the end of the day, it is true that if you want a fair game, you have to put people in the category of like of fairness to where like everyone's using the same thing. So for instance, if you're going to do mouse and keyboard, everyone should use mouse and keyboard. If you're going to use a controller, everyone should use a controller. But I think that only counts when it comes to like competitive esports stuff. I think when it comes to having fun and just playing the game for fun, I don't think it should matter as much, but I could be wrong, right? Because some people don't want to lose. And, if you're playing a game like Overwatch on console and someone's using a mouse and keyboard, you're definitely going to have a disadvantage at some point, maybe. But even the mouse and keyboard person's going to have a disadvantage if they're playing on console because, they're not playing at a higher FPS. Now, if you're playing on PC with the mouse and keyboard or a controller, you already have the advantage by having just that 144 FPS compared to like console at 60. So I don't know, it can go many different ways. There's different perspectives on like this whole topic and stuff. I don't know. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for this. I'll be checking it out. Maybe I'll switch to console. Maybe I won't switch to console. Let me know if you've ever played Rust, if you've never played Rust, if you're looking forward to playing Rust, what console are you going to be playing it as? And are they going to be releasing it for the new consoles? I mean, the new consoles are already out, so maybe it says here. I wasn't even paying attention, but it could say here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. Which is perfectly fine. It doesn't really matter. I don't see why they wouldn't put it on the new consoles eventually if they're not coming out right away. But yeah, that's really all for me today. I'm excited for this. I play a lot of Rust. Hopefully a lot of other people who aren't able to get a PC can finally enjoy this game that I was addicted to the first time that I played it. If you've ever been addicted to a game or even a Minecraft for like the first time that you played it, hopefully this can be one of those games that you enjoy. Even if sometimes the community can be toxic, that doesn't mean everyone's toxic, right? You can just disable voice chat. I'm actually curious if they're going to have like, I guess you can type, right? People on Rocket League type on console. So I would assume you're going to be able to chat. It's just going to be a little bit harder. Then again, some people do have keypads or they connect their keyboard just to type on there. So anyways, that's really all for me for today. Hopefully you have a lovely rest of your night. And yeah, talk to you next time.